Hey everybody, I would like to welcome you to another episode of Pop Culture Gems. This is a series where I, Davis Green, talk to amazing creators, artists, cosplayers, voice actors, and so much more. If you like the interviews with our terrific guests, like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the CFG channel. We release Pop Culture Gems on all podcast services and also on our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com. If you would like to support the podcast, you can always throw ducats our way by becoming a CFG member by going to thecfg.store. Today, I am talking to the voice actor who has an incredible career under their belt. He has been in memorable roles like Vice the Immaculate in the Final Fantasy series, Kaworu Nagisa in the Evangelion movies 1.0 to 3.0, Diablo from Reincarnated as a Slime, and of course, the most memorable, Frieza in Dragon Ball Super. But just to name a few of them, but you can currently see him playing as Takaya Sakaki in the new Persona 3 Reload. I would like to welcome Daman Mills to the show. How are you doing, sir?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you for having me. Oh, you're so kind with your intro.
Man, you've done so much in such a short period of time. It's just
it's tough. Yeah.
It's like, man, it's surprising. I was just trying to look at the list. I'm like, man, okay, so he's been in this and this and this. I'm like, yeah, I always like to put a little bit. Yeah. But no, I'm glad. But thank you for coming on the show. I really love it. Of course.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh. Well, all right. Well, let's get down to it. I always like to ask this for all podcasts, voice actors. What is your story? What got you into voice acting?
Oh man, the saga of how I started. So it's a whole novella. You know, it's a lot. No, so I grew up very interested in anime and video games is my thing, like, you know, so many others. And I too grew up watching Dragon Ball. And it was about when I was maybe 15, 16 that I started like really realizing, that's like a thing people do, voices for like animation, cartoons, whatever. And I was like, I kind of want to maybe dabble in that a little bit. I don't know. I was just so... It's really funny because I was a really kind of shy, introverted kid. I didn't really come across as somebody who would be an actor, right? Like it was not my thing. So I kind of just started practicing voice work on my own, recording on like my freaking phone. I think it was like, you know, BlackBerry or something like that. Like I had nothing at that time. Didn't know what I was doing. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try something, whatever. Eventually I started doing it more and more and more. And I kind of found like an online community of people who are also interested in doing the same thing. It was not as easily accessible on like how to get started then. Like it was a little bit more niche than it is today. But I found, you know, friends that I made, we made like these, you know, like little fan projects, or I would do some like indie games, stuff like that, just like little tiny things. You know, I kind of would get positive feedback and like, hey, like you're pretty good at this, like maybe you should really pursue it. And I'm like, okay. You know, I'm like, sure. I mean, and I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. So, you know, I kept on with that. I made my own demo reel. I did a lot of research. I, you know, made the necessary connections that I needed to kind of get my foot in the door. I had some friends of mine that would introduce me to like studios. So I started working a little bit in New York before anything.
Your first was in New York? Like
my first official anime project was in New York. So that was the first time I did anime. It was about 2014, 2015, something around there. So it's been a while. So that was the very first thing I did was there. And then I did a little bit of Pokemon up there as well. It was like my first, I was like, Pokemon, I did it. I made it. Doing incidentals in the background of it. But I was so excited. It didn't matter. I was like, that's awesome. So I quickly realized, though, that New York did not have a ton of voiceover opportunities at the time. It had been just the market had been dying. So I made the decision to move to Dallas because of Funimation and the plethora of work that is in Texas. And I felt like that was a better starting place for me than just moving to Los Angeles immediately. Because if I had done that, that would have been like
nightmarish.
Yeah, man, like it would have been no good. So, and I didn't know what I was doing. So, I moved to Dallas with a friend of mine and got an apartment, and I was just visiting Funimation actually with my friend, just like seeing it for the first time. And I had sent my demos in to a couple directors like ahead of time before I moved there. This one director, Joel McDonald, who was working there at the time, he's awesome. Sees me in the lobby, introduces himself, and he's like, "Hey, so we're actually auditioning One Piece Film Gold right now. Would you want to read for it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Okay.
Casual,
like just like now? Okay. So I was like, "Sure." So I, was a little panicked, and I was like, "All right, I'll look at these audition sites really quickly." And I ended up booking it.
Oh my God.
That was the very first thing I booked at Funimation was a One Piece movie. And I was like, cool.
It's funny every time when I hear like when people people or voice actors like go to like physically go to Funimation. Like this is the time when I believe when they were in Flower Mound.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they just get like they talk to like someone there, or they're not expecting it. Then all of a sudden they just casually just put up on the table, "Hey, would you like to try this out?" And I'm like,
sure. I miss working at the Flower Mound location. Like I just have a ton of fun memories there, and they're now Crunchyroll and in Capel. And so I've been there a few times and it's fun, but I do miss the nostalgia of the other building. But
the Flower Mound building was a warehouse.
Loved it.
It was just a giant warehouse.
It. There's a giant warehouse they converted into a recording studio, and they just did. It was just fun. I don't know. It was like a really fun time. I mean, the new building is very shiny, I will say.
Wow.
But so I worked at Funimation, like in Texas, and like that's where I booked Frieza when I was like within a year, I think, of working there, and some other other roles that I super love, and so I had actually been having the feeling of like wanting to move to LA for a period of time because I wanted to pursue video game work and other work and different avenues that I wasn't able to do there. I've been kind of flying out to LA a little bit here and there for work, but I was like, it's time. I gotta do something. So funnily enough is pandemic time happened, and we were all like, I was already planning to move, but it was kind of like, oh, like what do we do? We're like, in lockdown and whatever. So when it eased up, my roommates and I at the time ended up looking at places in LA, and we just kind of did it in the middle of the height of COVID, which was crazy. So we just went from being in lockdown in one state and then lockdown in another state. I was new to LA. I don't know. So I'm just like, hunkering down, but it didn't matter. So I was like, whatever. And I just kept recording at home. But it was funny because you mentioned Final Fantasy. It's like I had played FF7 Remake. I am a huge FF7 fan. And I played that and I finished it once it came out in April during the pandemic. And I was like, man, I got to move. I want to be in Final Fantasy so bad. Oh, and funnily enough, so as soon as I get to LA, I get an audition from my agent for Intergrade and for Vice. And I read for it and I did a callback like 2 weeks later and I didn't hear anything for 4 months. 4 months. Golly. And then I booked it. I was like, yay, it was great. It was so but that's kind of my story. Yeah.
That is like, I have to, no offense, but that sounds incredibly chaotic.
My whole life is chaos. Yeah. It's like, that's just, I just live by chaos.
So wait, you weren't necessarily like, so you weren't like traditionally like trained yourself. You just went on your own and you went on your own like journey essentially, and it just went full circle. And then you've just became
I've done like training and stuff. Yeah. I've done like some training with like different classes and things, but yeah, I didn't go to didn't do theater. I'm not a
But not
film
like,
person.
yeah.
Yeah, nothing like that. So
Not like you went to school for
a,
cinematography or anything like that. That is awesome.
Nothing. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to school at all. Like, I just very much lucked out, and I am very grateful for it.
I just love hearing stories like that, man. It's just like, it's just because everyone has like a different background and stuff. I just love hearing like, that is so. But what I love is the fact is that you knew that you were like, I mean, like voice acting was something that you were really interested in an early age, and you were starting to kind of build your craft from that point on, and it just blew up from there. Like was there something that you just saw, or was it Dragon Ball that just inspired you to say, hey, let me just go do that? Wow.
Yeah, it's so funny. And now I work with these guys, like it's very, very strange.
Full circle.
It's so bizarre. But it's a really cool
so you're like sitting down, you're seeing Chris Sabat and then just on the show, and now you're like a part of it.
Well, it's funnily enough, I've actually been I know you have a question about this later, but I am directing Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Like, I'm the ADR director on it.
Oh, cool.
Director. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's very, very full circle in that sense of like now not only being Frieza, but voice directing for the franchise as well, which is really neat.
That is just that's unbelievably impressive, I'd have to say. Yeah. And and I know, like you said earlier, you're a big Final Fantasy VII remake fan, but like I know you've been like in like anime and video games, like you've been a fan of anime and video games for a long time. But what kind of games like do you personally gravitate to? Like, what do you like? And when you have time, like what would be the kind of games, like what kind of games would you normally like to play?
I mean, I do love RPGs. RPGs are really great. I love the story-driven games, anything that I can really sink my teeth into with like a plot. Mm-hmm. But I also love like Mario, and I love Super Smash Brothers and stuff like that, or fighting games. Like, fighting games are great. I mean, I love Dragon Ball games, like ironically, or Final Fantasy. So those are really fun. What else have I been playing lately? I've been playing a lot of Honkai Star Rail. Mm-hmm. And then I just have been playing Final Fantasy 16. 16's been pretty good. So it's just like these long games, so they take forever to get through.
16 story is insanely great. Like
it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good. And then performances are so incredible. It's really inspiring, honestly, as an actor to watch.
Yeah, and then the music mixed in with all these crazy scenes. Yeah, Star's freaking incredible. It's like
he's amazing. It's so good. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so that's kind of what I gear towards.
No, yeah. So it sounds like you like more story driven games. Mm-hmm. You're not like a Call of Duty or Fortnite.
Oh God, never. I did try Fortnite with the Frieza skin that came out. I was like, I gotta try it. So I got that, and I had fun. I actually I was home for Christmas and hanging out with my siblings, and we all like downloaded Fortnite and we're playing it. It's so funny.
It feels so weird when you see like the Dragon Ball Z characters with holding guns and stuff.
It's just like, so what is funny. This? I'm like, what is happening in this game? It's chaotic. It's very chaotic. But Call of Duty, not at all. Like, I cannot with first person shooters. The only one I will say that I have given kind of like any inclination to play, and even then I wish I haven't really played it much, is like Borderlands. Like, I think Borderlands is such a fun, cool game. Like the characters and the story is really fun. The gameplay is really cool. But first person shooters make me dizzy. So I'm good. I don't know.
You know, it's funny. Like you're kind of like me too, because I hate first person shooters. But I think like if the first person shooter has a story within it, like a strong story driven into it, I kind of gravitate towards that too, because Borderlands is one of my favorites. But like, have you heard of Tiny Tina's Wonderland?
Yeah, I'm actually in it. Yeah,
you are.
I'm in Tiny. I'm in. Oh God, just a couple of rando characters.
Backgrounds.
I was like a mission character, Otto. He was like an old man, and then I played. Captain Claw. I think he was a crab.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. I played that one, and then I'm in Borderlands 3 also. I play Titus, who's the DLC for what was it?
The second one.
The third with Bounty of Blood. Was it the second or third? I don't remember. It was the one with it was the cowboy kind of like.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God, man.
Yeah, it was like Tomodachi, whatever. Like he would say that all the time. Yeah,
man, you're just all over the place, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, like, I'm a little bit.
do you have a favorite? Like, what's one of your favorite RPGs that when you were growing up?
I love Final Fantasy. Oh, Kingdom Hearts. I love
Kingdom Hearts
a ton. I love Kingdom Hearts. Pokemon. Pokemon's fun. It's classic. It's good. But I love Kingdom Hearts. That's a bucket list goal for me too. Honestly, like to be in a future installment, that'd be really cool. Like Vice looks like a character from Kingdom Hearts, in my opinion. So I mean, Final Fantasy VII is like right there too, though. Like that. I'm like, it's the same studio too. Like Skylark, they record both Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy VII. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know they came from the same studio.
It's the same recording studio. Yeah,
that's awesome. Oh, okay, cool. And do you have like besides Dragon Ball? I know like you're a Dragon Ball fan, but do you have any favorite personal animes or games or animes that you grew up with?
Yeah, I love Inuyasha. Inuyasha is great. Full Metal Alchemist is great. Oh God, there's so much. One I really like. It's a little bit more obscure. It's called Claymore.
Oh, I know Claymore. Yeah, with the girls.
That one was really good. I remember that one really being freaking awesome.
I kind of spun out on that one because like there's that one scene, where with the main character. Yeah, I was like, dude, what? Oh my God,
it's a trip. But everybody was so good in that, and I love Stephanie Young. Like she's so freaking talented. Like amazing.
Oh man. Oh God, yeah, that's crazy. I love it. And you yourself attend like a ton of anime conventions.
Yeah.
To greet your fans. But I've always wondered because like sometimes when I see your schedule, like of like how many times that you go, and it's like, oh, it's like wasn't he like on the East Coast like last week? Like, how do you muster the energy to travel to so many shows annually like that?
So coffee for sure. But like the traveling part is exhausting, but like meeting people is always so energizing and cool because like, everybody who is passionate about your work or excited to meet you, like it's just kind of like feeds off of each other. I get excited too. Like when somebody's like, and I'm like, you're awesome because you like the thing. And we can both geek out about this together. That's really fun for me. So that definitely helps. But yeah, I mean, like it can be tiring. Like you don't really feel it until you leave after the event. Like you're like, oh man, I'm sleepy. I need a nap, But yeah, man, it's just a lot of coffee. I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, okay, you have your regular 9 to 5, which is already like inside the booth, and plus on top of that, you're also ADR on a lot of different kinds of certain projects. Then on the weekend, you have a weekend. Like, I'm surprised I even caught you on this weekend. So I was like,
I know. Next week, I'm at another show. Like, I'm like, it's usually like once or twice a month. Depends.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, so you at least have it somewhat spread out, so you're not killing yourself on.
Oh my God! If I was doing one a weekend, it'd be so hard. That'd be crazy.
Like 2 weeks ago, I talked to a Nazi Tarsha, and yeah, and he told me like he went to a show in Scotland. He came back, then he had a week, and then he left for a show in England. And I'm like, why didn't you just stay over there?
I know, why didn't he just stay? That's so silly, actually. I'm like, Nazzy, what are you doing, bro?
I was just thinking,
extend your trip, enjoy, take a vacation. That's what I mean. I went to the Netherlands in the fall, and I extended that trip to and I didn't have another con, but I was like, I'm going to hang out in Amsterdam and go to Paris because that's amazing, and I want to do that. So. Like I'm going to New Zealand in March.
Oh, wow. Cool. Yeah. Around the corner. Is this your first time?
Yeah. I'm really excited. I've been to Australia, but I'm really excited for New Zealand. I want to go to Hobbiton,
You're going to get the full Hobbit experience at that point. Yeah.
I wish to be a Hobbit. Yes.
like how many, do you do a lot of international events too, or do you just,
some, it's mostly domestic. I do the occasional international, but they're hard to kind of fit into your schedule and do. But they're so fun. It's such a neat experience to be like flown overseas for like what we do. Like that's so special.
That's
honestly.
crazy. What's
it's
it like?
So cool.
If I was like, cause like I'm actually going to be going to, I want to say, was it called MCM London?
Yeah.
We're going to be doing some coverage over there here in the when that comes out. But like what are some events is there a go to event that's somewhere that you would suggest yourself to go check out?
That I would love to go to myself. I mean, MCM London, I would love to. I've never been to London, so that would be really cool.
Oh, wow.
Let's see, where else would I love to go? I've heard there's some really cool shows in like Abu Dhabi and like Dubai and stuff. Like that would be really fun. Anything like in Japan or things like that, like I would love to do. Like overseas, anything.
You got to go to Japan. There was a
I know.
I went to before the pandemic. I went to Tokyo in 2019 for the Tokyo Game Show.
Oh, sick.
And this is when Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, was about to come out. So they had a lot of crazy promos. And I'd have to say that is one of my favorite events I've ever been to in my entire life.
Really?
Like press wise and stuff. They treat folks really good over there.
That's good. That's really good to hear.
Yeah, you definitely should.
I would. Dude, in 2 seconds. It's just sometimes hard to carve out time to travel just for fun, so I need to do that a little bit more, but alas.
I know your time. I can only imagine. One day it's gonna happen.
I'll do it. I'll make it happen.
And you recently posted on your Instagrams of you cosplaying the character you played in Honkai Star Rail, Blade. And I was like wondering, I'm like, and I mean, you looked up. It's scary how close you look.
Thank you.
Like, how often do you cosplay? And do you have? Is there a cosplay that you've done that's like one of your favorites that you did?
I don't cosplay too much. It's kind of seldom. I think Blade is definitely out there though. That was a really involved cosplay. I actually want to do like a proper shoot of it, but it's what's another Cherry Blossom from Skate the Infinity. I did a little bit of that too. That was really fun too. But aside from that, I mean, I did Cloud for Halloween, Cloud Strife a little bit.
I did see your Cloud, and I was like, dang, dude, like, who's doing your wigs? Like, was that you? Who's doing the wigs?
No. No. My secret is commissions because I have no idea what to do. Are you kidding? I would just be like, what do I, and I would just butcher it and look horrendous. And we don't want to do that. So
no, you looked amazing in them. I was just like, holy
Thank you,
crap, man. It was really fun. That was the Cloud was a Halloween outfit. That's really,
I bought the wig like a while back and I never had an opportunity to wear it. And I was like, this is the time. This is Halloween. Like that was really fun.
You got to do it. You got to do like at least once. You got to try out do at least a Leon Kennedy because your hairstyle just naturally goes that way.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. I should honestly at some point. Like I really should. I did the Resident Evil Death Island movie too. I think that was really fun. I played like the bad guy though, and is such a cool film.
That film was really awesome. Yeah. No, I did check it. Yeah, I did check it out. It's a really good film. I'm surprised how good the CG was. Yeah,
I know.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's very nice. And and you have a very like we said at the beginning, like you have a very impressive catalog of voices that you've played. Like,
Thank you.
Yes, and the most remarkable thing that I've really noticed is your incredible range. Because before we started, when I was like, I had no idea you were that low normally on your pitch, but most of the time you sound like a complete, like most of the roles that you do, like you go back to back, you sound completely different. like all the time. Like
Thank you.
it's impressive. Like
I'm a little bit of a chameleon. Yeah.
You are. That's why it's so perfect that you never get typecasted, which is really great.
Yeah.
And like, what did you do to be able to have such different pitches in the performance? You were like,
I don't know.
You have no idea.
I don't know, man. I just like figured it out. I was like, oh, my voice does lots of different things. Cool. I just practiced, man. I don't know. I was just like messing around and, trying to figure out my sound, and just, I guess, discovered that, oh, I can do this and this and this and this. And, I'm like,
it's just weird. You just see a lot of people like literally kill for something like that, and to have that kind of the ranges and pitches that you go with. And I just assumed that you were training yourself to do it, but you're man.
I mean, I've practiced certain things for sure, but like it's I don't have like a formula, or like I can't really break it down. I'm just like, I don't know, it's like a yo-yo in my throat, I guess. It just like
that is so great. That's great. And like, I mean, and well, I mean, because of that, was there any like roles that you played prior to that, like, or at all that may have been like challenging, more challenging than average? Let
me see. I mean, there's a couple. There's always like certain things that can be a little bit harder. I mean, Frieza obviously it was pretty taxing to figure out and get right, because it was a voice match, so a lot of practice with that. And then Douglas Bullet was for One Piece Stampede was a bit challenging because it was so low and screamy. So it's just in the back, like super, super in the bowels of my my vocal cords. So that was a little bit harder to maintain, I think, than anything that's like a little bit more mid-range or higher. Like if it gets really high, that can be a little hard to, like, if it's like, because you have to pinch, you have to clench that sound. So that can be like Frieza's screams are really shrill, so that can be really, it's always the screaming, man. Like, I mean, the screaming is just like it's never easy. It can be cathartic when you're like I'm stressed out and I just need to scream, and then you get paid for it. It's cool. But yeah, I don't know. I can't.
But like, what about
accents?
Like? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, like accents. I guess accents can be kind of challenging to do and get your head around. I had to do like a Swedish accent for free. So I had to kind of study up on that. I don't even know if it's like amazing, but
what about like with Frieza? I know Frieza's like kind of has that formality, kind of like it's not necessarily British, but it's just like, very,
it's like mid-Atlantic sort of. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like very just a posh,
Yes, exactly. Good way of describing that. And but like I just imagine what you're saying with screaming and things like the powering up of course would be one of the most annoying. It will seem like it'd be one of the most taxing things. I can only imagine. Yeah. So like just doing stuff like that. I mean, like, excuse me. Especially for roles when you're in the booth like that, like how taxing or how crazy can stuff like is that for your voice and stuff when you do that in long periods of time.
Well, you definitely want to kind of cap those sessions if you can, because if you do those too long, it can really damage your cords. You can damage your voice. So trying to be smart about that. And then trying to think, like, I try to stay hydrated as much as I can. I try to, scream from my diaphragm. That way I'm not screaming from here, because if you scream from here, you can really tear this up. So the more support you have in your diaphragm, the easier it will be to maintain screaming for a long period of time. And usually, thankfully, I've never had anything like vocal nodes or polyps, excuse me, or as my voice just like starts giving out. No, I've never had polyps, nodes, anything like that. That's like a permanent thing, or you need to get it removed. I've never had that, thankfully. I've never bled. I've never, that's all stuff that can really happen if you are not careful. You can bleed. I've had colleagues tell me that they bled or coughed up blood,
Oh my God.
and I'm like, oh my, wow, like that's metal. Yeah. I know. So don't do that if you can help it. So yeah, I guess that's just maintaining is just being smart about your technique and taking breaks as needed. And if you feel pain, call the session. Like you just have to be done. And then just vocal rest. Like you just don't speak. You just need to let it heal as much as you can.
Right. And just also out of curiosity though, how different is it when you're playing roles? I mean, I know with anime you do have like, you're matching the lips and stuff, but like in the game, you're the one that you're basically by yourself doing these kind of things, doing weird, different, arbitrary like sound effects and stuff. Like, but like, how different is that between game voice acting to like a show voice acting?
So there's some differences even within the game side of it. So, as you know, with like dubbing anime, like your ADR dubbing, meaning like you are previewing the Japanese, seeing how the mouth moves, and then giving a take, as we'll come in and record to picture, like just along with that sync. And then they'll line it up. And if we need to make adjustments to the line, they'll do that. They'll do like an edit that'll make it work. I don't know. Engineers are magic. But for game recording, if you are originating the sound, usually you are just kind of in a vacuum. You have no, you're not playing off anybody else. You don't really have visual most of the time. Like you just have the script and you have the director and maybe some clients that are on a line or something that can give some extra guidance. And you will basically get context from the director and the team. You will come in for a line or whatever run of lines that are like there for you. And you will usually give like an A, B or ABC take, like 1, 2, or 3, depending. And then they'll pick. Or like give you an adjustment based if like it's not working because they have the full story in their head. But with for like say Dragon Ball, for instance, if we're doing a video game for that, any sort of dubbing for video games, what we do is we will hear the Japanese audio file, and then we will, after the Japanese audio file plays, we'll give our take, and then if it's timed, they need to match it to the time. So there's like usually like parameters within that need to be accounted for. So like say it's like you have 0.5 seconds over or under the Japanese audio file timing. Wow. So that is tight. So you have to like make sure like you're within that time frame. Or, maybe it's a second. Maybe it's like you can be longer than it or shorter than it. It doesn't matter. It just depends on the circumstance. So that's kind of where they differ there. Sometimes we do dubbing for games like to picture. It depends if we are given materials for that. I've definitely dubbed to picture. I think I did some of that for Final Fantasy, like a little bit. But then they, reanimate the mouth for that, which is cool. And then the third way that games can be different is like the motion capture. So if you're doing motion capture or mocap, that is when you are not even in a booth and you are in what they call the volume. And it is like a stage, like a sound stage. And you are in a suit with a bunch of dots all over you, or like the camera, or like dots on your face, whatever, for tracking. And you are basically giving a live performance like you would for stage or film. More film, honestly. It's like more film performance. But you don't have the luxury of a set in the same way. Like you don't have costumes, you don't have anything that's going to help with that. You have to just kind of be in character in these weird suits with like nothing around you and memorize your lines. I've done one motion capture job and that was hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
what was that job?
I can't say,
Oh,
unfortunately, but it's
okay.
but it was very daunting for me to
Mm.
do that rather than do the traditional sort of recording that we do for video games. So
Was that like
that's
was that like an experience that you would want to do again, or does that just sound like was that just like
I
kind of
want to for sure. I think I would love the opportunity to do it again in a longer capacity. Mine was not like super long; it was like just a couple days.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I would totally be down to do it again. I feel like I personally need more training in like the memorization of like remembering your lines and trying to, get your head around that, because I don't know how people memorize like whole monologues. Like that's crazy.
It is insane. Yes, I totally
It's like,
agree.
especially technical monologues or anything crazy like that. There's a bug. Um, so yeah, that's how
Oh,
they differ.
that's impressive. Though, yeah, I've always been fascinated by that, and just wanted to see like it's like I know it's very. I mean, it's taxing on both, but just to think, when I'm thinking of just sound and just creation of different kinds of like things that you have to do in a game, just seems
Yeah.
so monotonous. like of like,
It can be
yeah,
hard, yeah, because you don't have like, like kind of the stimulation of seeing like immediate feedback. You're just kind of in a void, especially if you're recording a game for months and months and months and months and months. You have
mm,
no idea what it's going to look like in the end. It's like only just now seeing what Persona 3 Reload, and we did that, and I when I was recording that, I just had nothing. I'm like, all right, we'll see how it turns out. I don't know. It's
yes,
always a gamble, and that's why sometimes if things seem funny in games ever, that's probably why, because we don't have that in the
yeah.
booth.
You
So
have no frame of reference of what you're doing actively. Yeah, that
you
makes
do, but
sense.
don't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like you have some, but you don't have the complete visual to go with that.
Hmm.
So
Right. And I confidently can say that you are an established voice actor. I mean,
thank you,
with everything you've done, yes.
thank you.
But like, I saw that you also do outside of work outside the booth as an ADR as well. And
Yes.
was becoming a director something that you initially planned for?
No, not at all. It just was very strange because I was working at Funimation, and then I just had a couple of my friends who were also working as directors who are voice actors as well. They were like, "I think you'd be really good at doing voice directing. Would you like to shadow us, meaning like watch and observe and kind of like take notes?" And I was like, "I would. I think I would. That would intrigue me." And I wanted to diversify my skill set. So what I did was I sat in with people like Caitlin Glass and Alexis Tipton and Tia Ballard and a bunch of other people, and Aaron Dismuke at one point.
Mhm.
But yeah, just a ton of people like that, and just to kind of see what their job entails and like what they need to do on there. Because like you have a vague idea when you're working, but you really need to sit down and like observe like how that process goes. Um, so I did that, and then Tia Ballard brought me on as an assistant director for Kono Oto Tomare Sounds of Life, which is I was one of the leads in that.
Mhm.
So it was a perfect show to start on because I knew it so well. Um, and Tia is such a patient, awesome person, and just was super helpful in teaching me and it was great. It was super fun to do. So Funimation's like where I got my start voice directing. And then pandemic happened. So uh, it became needed to direct stuff like remote. So I had to do a lot of that for a bit. So I started working with Sound Cadence Studios with their anime dubbing and stuff like that. So I was working as a voice director a lot for them for a while. I've directed like stuff with the Prince of Tennis,
Mhm.
Fist of the North Star, a few different anime I did from like Funimation that they outsourced to Sound Cadence. And some live action films I've done, like live action dubbing. Um, and yeah, I don't know, I never set out to do that, but I enjoy it. And I mean, I like both sides. I prefer being an actor, but I definitely like voice directing too. And it's some stability with like work as well.
Oh.
So I have been doing the Dragon Ball voice directing for about a year now. I've done a lot of work on the video games. This is actually my first time directing for video games. I've really done that.
Oh, so Sparkling Zero is your first game that you're voice directing in?
Yes. Well, I directed some of, what did I do? Kakarot, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I'd done DLC directing for that. I did a little bit on the World Tournament one. This is the DLC.
Tenkaichi?
Not
or Dragon Ball Fighters.
No, it's on Kakarot. The DLC for Kakarot. It was the Dragon Ball. Tournament. Yeah. So I helped. I directed. I worked a lot with Sean Schimmel on that, and then I was working on like Xenoverse stuff, then Dragon Ball Legends, and Dokkan, and Breakers, and etc. So I did a bunch of that, and then when Sparking Zero came in, they offered me to be a voice director, and I'm the lead voice director on that, as well as a producer. And I've helped script adapt and all kinds of stuff. So on top of voicing Frieza. So it's been a very heavily involved process, I will say, for me. But I am very passionate about Dragon Ball, and I want this game to be very good. So at least on my end, with like, you know, the dubbing and the localization, then I can be like very like as diligent as I possibly can on making sure that it is what the fans want and what I want. Man, and the actors, obviously.
Just
and I guess Chris.
And Chris. Oh, you guess Chris. Okay.
I guess. Make sure Papa Sabbath is happy.
Man, so like, I mean, so basically, I mean, that's just like about what, 5 years, you say, like, give or take.
Wow, yeah, I've been working for like 5 years. Yeah,
that's quite a journey. Like from within that's a journey within a journey that you're getting.
My whole life is chaos. I'm telling you. Like I don't know. I just like do things. I'm just a go getter. I'm like, okay, I'll do the thing. I'll try it. If I don't do it well, then I'll do something else.
Not only that, though, too, but you're also very good at seizing the opportunity. So
try to, man. Like, you gotta, like, especially like if you want to make a living in this business, because it is all freelance. Like, you have to just like keep hustling. Like, that's just what we do.
Hustling and networking and all that.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's so crazy. And like, I mean, well, so I guess, so Sparking Zero is basically is your main one that you're really the where you're the lead and everything in with the like ADR. Like, I mean, that sounds like a lot of is that a lot, or like how is that for you? I mean, even though you've been doing like ADR work, it is.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Game directing is different than anime directing, because the anime stuff, again, you see it immediately. You get the full context. The game stuff, there are so many minute details when it comes to managing that and directing it, and needing to know the context and needing to know like how this line may play, especially like make sure that they are all kind of flowing together in a scene. You know, you have to make sure that it sounds like they're talking to each other. You have to make sure that it's like is the projection level correct? Is that too loud? Is that too angry? Is that too da-da-da? You got to like make sure like of all these little things to make sure the performance is correct. And, you know, a lot of these guys with Dragon Ball, like, you know, I'm just babysitting, right? Like, I'm like, you know, like they know their job. I know my job.
They're
like,
established.
Yeah, you know, like we know the drill with the Dragon Ball train. Yeah. But it does help to have like that extra context, so that way we can give a more complete or finessed performance for this game ultimately. So yeah. I don't know. I love directing. It's cool.
It's good. And being a fan of a series and like initially being a fan of series and games that you grew up in, to become characters within the worlds that you must be insanely surreal.
It's very strange.
Yeah,
it's very strange. Yeah,
but one I kind of noticed was Vice in the Final Fantasy. Like, it sounded like you just had a great time playing that character.
I did.
Like,
I really did.
Yeah, what made Vice fun for you to play?
I am such a Sephiroth fan that he was such in the ballpark of Sephiroth for me. like it was like as close as I can get to playing Sephiroth is Vice, honestly. Like because he's silver hair, they look very similar, you know. And even like when I was recording, they wanted the voice to kind of be similar to Sephiroth. They wanted that similar kind of gravitas and regality, I think. And it was just, I was just geeking out, man. Like I love Final Fantasy so much, and I was so stoked to do anything in it at all, and especially because I remember I was like, I just want to be like incidentals, like bit parts, like I don't care. I didn't think I was going to be like one of the main antagonists in the game.
Integrate, so, I believe, right?
Yes, yeah. And I'm hoping that they bring them back in the future. We will see. But I did do Crisis Core, like a very brief cameo in that. That was fun.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah, I played the original on my PSP like back in the day, so it was really trippy to revisit as an actor and then replay the game. It's cool. It's cool.
It's like, hey, there I am. Yeah, that kind of situation.
Yeah. It was so very surreal, but so incredibly cool.
Yeah. I still need to play Crisis Core. I have not played it yet.
Dude, you got to play it. It is, I have it right here. Like this game. If you guys haven't played it, it's fun. This will make you cry. This will make you cry.
It will make you cry? Oh, God.
Cry. Make you weep.
Oh, that is it. Oh, well, I gotta play. I need to still finish Integrate. Like, I'm definitely need to finish that.
That's this one. Yeah. I have like a shelf of just all my crap here, like and then stuff here. Yeah.
Easy transitionals to get props in the picture. That's perfect. There you go. And
my office is a mess. I'm like,
okay. My very last question is like, what do you prefer more to play, a protagonist or antagonist, and why?
Bro, that's hard. That's hard because it's so funny because sometimes I think people do, because I voice Frieza, like they think antagonist, Daman. He does the antagonist thing. Mm-hmm. But I can do the protag thing. And people don't always realize that. They're like, oh, okay. So I think I want to have more opportunities to play more protag stuff because I don't as often as I do antagonists.
You know what I
mean?
You naturally get, but not saying you yourself, but but like the roles you naturally play are slowly on the protagonist side, or I'm sorry, antagonist side.
They lean more antagonistic for sure. Like I definitely get more of those than the opposite direction, but I can do the protagonist stuff. And actually, like I did I'm in Genshin Impact as Linny, and he's not a protagonist per se, but he's very much like in the upper range and very just like young, whatever. And so it's a little different than what I get to usually play. So that's been really exciting. So I don't know. I like both for different reasons. But antagonists are really fun to play, I will say. Like it is fun to just be mean.
It's funny because like most people I've talked to really would prefer the antagonist because they don't like being they call it a box, because there's like a box set of rules that the protagonist has to somewhat
That's fair.
Yeah. But I love your side of it because you see a lot more antagonistic spots, but you're kind of looking not necessarily outside the window of the protag, but it's like, I would love just once to be like, people to love me instead of hate me so much.
I've done some of it here and there, like just not as often. But like recent things, it's like Persona, I'm the antagonist, like, and I'm the antagonist in Dragon Ball, and I'm the antagonist in Final Fantasy, and I'm the antagonist, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like cyclical.
No, definitely.
But like, I'm not complaining about it because I also really like it. So
yeah, it's like it's a good thing to be at. That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey David, thank you so much for doing it. It was really a fun talking to you, man.
You too,
really
man.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
Yeah, definitely check him out in Persona 3 Reload. It's going to be freaking awesome. Also coming soon, Final Fantasy. I know you're not going to be in Rebirth. As far as we know. But
I'm not.
Okay.
Unfortunately, but I'm still excited to play it.
Yes.
So that's going to be sick. But do look forward to Persona, and then, well, no, Persona's out now, and then Sparking Zero whenever that comes out. I have no idea.
Sparking Zero, I'm looking forward to. I've been like waiting to see what the next Dragon Ball game is going to be after Fighters. So
it's going to be fire.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that Kakarot was still getting DLC like they just announced a new DLC content for Kakarot.
I directed that one.
You did that one too? Oh man!
Yeah.
Oh, was it the? Oh yeah,
the one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. God, yeah, that's unbelievable. It's like 4 years old and they're still counting. That's awesome.
I know. I mean, it's like Xenoverse. Like it's still getting DLC, and that's like 6-7 years old at this point. No, 8.
Yes. Unbelievable.
What?
Yeah, they definitely like to keep Dragon Ball gives them money, so hey, I guess they're just doing what the fans are wanting. So
exactly. So I'm sure that funded Sparking Zero plenty.
Big time. But folks, if you love the interview I did with Daman Mills, definitely give us a like, a follow, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, the CFG channel, or you can check out the full archive of all the other episodes that we've done on Pop Culture Gems at our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com. So once again, this is Davis signing out. Y'all, take it easy.
Bye.